Hi, thanks for joining me on HR Chalk Talk. I'm Brent Houchin, founder of Houchin Consulting and co-founder of Tech People Resources, also known as TPR. The HR Chalk Talk podcast is here to provide information to those in human resources, those in leadership positions, and those who simply want to know more about HR best practices. Today's subject is the importance of job descriptions and why they need to be shortened and relevant. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, someone that I really do respect quite a bit, and has worked in the HR industry for many years. We got onto the subject of job descriptions, and we spoke about how job descriptions often misrepresent what the job actually needs. Often we add in the need for a degree. Why? Often we add in requirements that are hand-tying that are not specifically skilled-based. Why? And when making job descriptions too over the top, extreme, or almost impossible for any candidate to actually be qualified for, then the description could become discriminatory. How can it become discriminatory? Well, if it is so over the top that almost no one can qualify, and therefore you hire someone who actually is not qualified and does not meet all the requirements in your job description, it could be discriminatory in that you did not hire someone else who did not have the specific requirements that you were requiring. Way over the top. Can absolutely be discriminatory. So let's make the job description relevant. Let's take out what is not necessary and certainly take out what is not required. And then let's take another look at it and determine what is truly required and what is not. What can the new employee learn on the job? What is teachable? Even if they know a bit about the work they're being hired for, the lack of training may be a disadvantage for the employees and the employer and lead to problems such as lower productivity, disciplinary issues, or termination. In the end, was it the employee's fault that you created a situation in which they could not succeed? I had a client recently call me for some employee relations advice, and they asked me what were my thoughts on this person that they hired who didn't completely meet the job description, who didn't completely meet what they were looking for, but they also gave no training at all, and this person started failing. Coworkers started getting upset that work wasn't getting done, and the employee themselves, the new hire, was feeling lost. And when they actually explained it to me that way, I said to them, so you're disciplining them for something you did wrong, for something you did not give them, for something you did not care to succeed in. And they thought about that and they said, you're right. I said, you kind of need to start from the beginning and you need to explain to the staff who are upset and say, you know what, we failed this. We did not give the proper training and we need to make sure that we do. And then in the future, you need to make sure that you do that all the time, that new hires are told what they're going to get as far as training, that they understand what is going to be given to them that would be advantageous, and that the teams know that patience is important as this new person is going to be our advocate, our coworker, our team, and having everybody on board and understanding that is key. I read this on CIO.com. The best job descriptions combine a little bit of marketing, the reality of the role, the necessary skills and competencies, and the organization's culture. In addition to the standard role description and skills and experience required, recruiters and hiring managers must place an emphasis on culture, mission, and values to avoid making a bad hire. And to ensure you are attracting a diverse pool of highly qualified applicants, you must also make sure your descriptions don't alienate women, people of color, the differently abled, and the LGBTQI community. So let's make the job descriptions honest, and they certainly do not need to be pages and pages long. Avoid superlatives and extreme modifiers. Over-the-top language like best of the best, off the charts, world class, rock stars, ninjas. All those words tend to prevent candidates from applying, especially women and underrepresented minorities, but also some men. Anyone who has been socialized not to toot their own horn will be less likely to categorize themselves in these ways and thus be likely to apply. You should also avoid using language that describes a singular focus on a narrow set of abilities. For instance, perfectionists, or those who are forever tinkering. Again, you risk turning off highly qualified talent that could excel in the role without these traits, or that doesn't self-identify with those terms. Focus responsibilities on growth and development. Don't just list a bunch of boring daily tasks to avoid a long, bulleted list of responsibilities or qualifications. Lists like these are difficult to absorb, and the minutia often means little until one's actually doing the job. Instead, describe the key job functions in 5 to 7 bullets. You can also group 2 or 3 bullets under larger categories such as technical skills, management skills, communication, and the like. You also should explain how the job will contribute to business objectives, the potential for advancement, and how candidates' achievements can contribute to that. One of my clients makes it their extreme goal that when you are being hired, when you are being onboarded, and that the job description and that their ads all state how you are personally contributing to the business. That's huge. Involve current employees in writing job descriptions. Now, some people are a little taken back by that, and some people, don't want to involve their staff. They say, well, they're busy, and really, their type of role, they wouldn't understand what's actually needed in a job description. That's not true. None of that's true. Give your teams an opportunity to learn, to take part. You will be shocked at what they might be able to give you. If they can actually give some input, this will be huge. Removing any criteria that is no longer necessary for the job. Your teams are going to help you understand that. They know it because they're doing it. Or highlighting criteria that could be learned on the job, as well as avoiding restrictive requirements for years of experience, can help attract more diverse candidates. Involving the current team will help fine-tune the description and help determine the skills necessary to do well in that role. Knowing what your team needs and the type of candidates that will be a cultural fit will be crucial for long-term success. Involve them is the bottom line. Culture, culture, culture. It is everything. Everything eventually comes back to a candidate asking themselves, will I be a good fit and really enjoy working here? So it's critical that culture is all over a job description. Here's where you highlight things like benefits, perks, workplace bonuses. Do you have an on-site gym? Do they get free food? Flexible schedules, remote work opportunities, happy hour Fridays. Shout it out on the job description. Cultural fit is just as much of importance to both employees and employers as technical and experience fit, if not more so. A bad hire costs money and it drains productivity. A lack of culture fit and employee engagement increases turnover, so you've got to get it right. But you can't let culture fit undermine diversity and inclusion. Make sure you're avoiding gender-specific pronouns by rephrasing to avoid them. Also make sure photos, graphics, videos, or other multimedia supplements include a diverse range of people, preferably who already work for your organization. Bust biases in your ad. Gender-biased language can be subtle, but it is still detrimental. Biased language has been shown to deter highly qualified talent from applying because it unconsciously lowers their expected sense of fitting in. According to Ian Siegel, CEO of recruiting and hiring platform at ZipRecruiter, the detriment of male or female skewing terms within job descriptions has come under great scrutiny since American Psychological Association research showed how seemingly innocuous words signal gender bias in job ads. That's huge. We have to be very careful of the words that we're using in our ads. We want to take out anything, especially that is gender-based. Kieran Snyder, CEO and co-founder of Textio, states, "It stands to reason a machine learning platform that analyzes language patterns, that if you reach a wider pool of applicants, you're much more likely to improve the diversity of applicants and speed up the recruiting and hiring process." CNBC did an article on the future of work won't be about college degrees, it will be about skill. I love that. They go on to state, too often degrees are still thought of as lifelong stamps of professional competency. They tend to create a false sense of security, perpetuating the illusion that work and the knowledge it requires is static. It is not. The future of work won't be about degrees, folks. More and more, it'll be about skills. And no one school can ever insulate us from the unpredictability of work itself. By the way, I am not against education by any means. In fact, I do believe many jobs should require degrees such as lawyers, CPAs, to name a few. But I digress. When we require a degree for a position that is not particularly necessary, we may be excluding certain minorities or women. Excluding them is not only a bad move, but could be discriminatory if you hire someone without a degree anyway. So we've talked a little bit about discrimination here a few times. It's something that we have to keep a close eye out on. All of this comes down to something a tad more simple. Hire for skill and hire for cultural fit. Then, you more often than not will hire the best new hire needed. Think about your job descriptions and ensure they are meeting the criteria I mentioned here. The rest will fall into place. Okay, off my soapbox. As we close, I want to remind you that you can always contact us at Tech People Resources for learning and development opportunities on any HR-related subject, or you can always reach out to me at Houchin Consulting for HR assistance of any kind. We're here to help. Tune in next time to HR Chalk Talk as I speak about unconscious bias. Don't miss this insightful podcast and learn more on this subject. And remember, it's about respect. Your employees will thank you. Respect is an absolute must when leading others. Thanks for joining me today. Have a great week.